Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm returning to you this early evening, about to go into evening time momentarily. This is for Megadeth's third studio album that I'm going to be reviewing for you guys finally. And I'm sorry that I didn't review it sooner. I just was watching a movie this morning, going into afternoon time, and then I just did a rant video, and then apology video after that. Hopefully you enjoyed those videos. I know some people didn't like my controversial video, but that's how I personally felt. So yeah, this is for their third studio album. So far, so good. So what? That I'm going to be reviewing for Megadeth, their third studio album. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for this third studio album by Megadeth. So far, so good, so what? And let you know my thoughts on this album, this 1988 album. So let's dive into this album review. Now it starts with Into the Lungs of Hell, the instrumental, and off the bat it's really good. Really enjoyed the guitar riffs in this track, and the solos for the guitars sound really good. So was personally enjoying this track. So it's just an instrumental track, but it is pretty well done. So 5 out of 5. Set the World Afire was a really good song. Really enjoyed this one, so 5 out of 5. Didn't have many complaints with this song, or any complaints with this song. I just personally like it. It sounds really good. Production, mixing, and also with the guitars and drum work in this track and Dave Mustaine singing. Sounds pretty strong, so 5 out of 5. Anarchy in the UA Sex Pistols cover was disappointing. I wasn't a fan of this one. I don't know, there was something about it that just Dave Mustaine's vocals was how it was sounding. I know this is a very popular song from the Sex Pistols, but I personally wasn't feeling for Dave Mustaine's vocals with this cover track. So 2.5 out of 5 for me on this one. I don't know. I'm just not connecting with it for some odd reason. Mary Jane. I like the Sex Pistols cover a little bit better than this one, in my personal opinion. Mary Jane, like I said, getting back on track with the review, is a decent song. Dave Mustaine's vocals in this is a little weak in this one, but other than that, I think the track did decently with how it was executing, with the guitar riffs and the drum work. Instrumentally, this album is pretty good, so it just has some clustery moments with some of the production and mixing of some of the tracks. So 4 out of 5 for Mary Jane. 502 is a solid track. It's not too bad. I like the instrumentation in this track. Dave Mustaine's singing is on the fence with me. But other than that, I'm not really hating this song for what it's going for. So 4.5 out of 5. In My Darkest Hour is a pretty strong track. Really enjoyed how Dave Mustaine is singing the track from time to time. There is some cringe moments with his vocals, but no, this wasn't that terrible. And sorry that my glasses keep sliding down from my nose. It's unsteady right now. So yeah, 5 out of 5 for In My Darkest Hour. I personally like this track. It is 6 minutes long, almost 6.5 minutes long, but it does get the job done with what it's sounding like. So 5 out of 5. Liar is a solid track. Some of Dave Mustaine's vocals in this song, don't know if I'm personally connecting with, but in my opinion, I think it's solid. So 4.5 out of 5. It's not a bad track. It's good in its own way, but has some weak moments with how Dave Mustaine is singing the track from time to time. So 4.5 out of 5. And finally, we get to the last song, Hook in Mouth, and that's a solid one to end the album. Not the worst track I've listened to, but it's solid in its own way. There's not really, I think for the first three albums, you get very short songs, very short track list of songs, I meant to say. But pretty much this album, I'm gonna be scoring it in a second. Um, for a score, I'd give Hook and Mouth a 4.5 out of 5. So overall, in my opinion, I think Megadeth's So Far So Good So What album was a decent listen. I'm not really personally on board with this album and what it's sounding like, because there are some weak moments. There's some strong moments, but then there's some clustery moments with Anarchy in the UK Sex Pistols cover being my least favorite, very least favorite. It's really weak of a track. And Mary Jane being another weak song. But other than that, the rest of the tracks performed solid to really good. So there's only like 3 great tracks on this album, and some solid ones, then a decent one, and a disappointing one. So, overall, in my opinion, I think Megadeth's So Far So Good So What album is a decent listen. Definitely give it a shot and see what you think of it for yourself. And for a score for me, I'm giving Megadeth's So Far So Good So What album a 7 out of 10. This was decent. It's below average, but it does a decent job. I was going to give it like a 6.5, but it didn't deserve it because there were some strong tracks in this album that kind of boosted the rating up for this album, but other than that, I'm not really connecting with this album too much. It's just a decent effort, so they did a decent job, so 7 out of 10. Comment below. Let me know what you guys thought of the Megadeth album So Far So Good So What, if you've listened to this album. And if you enjoyed this album review I did for you guys, their third Marathon Studio album review, or the third Marathon Studio album review that I did in Megadeth's discography. I got like 12 more albums to review from them. So it's going to be prolonged through most of November is when I'll be doing all of Megadeth's album reviews. So comment below and let me know what you guys thought of this So Far So Good So What album review if you enjoyed it. Tap a like on this video if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel if you can. Support the channel. I will have another review coming out for their 4th studio album. I think it's called Rust in Peace, the 1990 album. Yeah, Rust in Peace. That's going to be tomorrow. And then next week you won't be seeing any more Megadeth albums till the 6th of November because I gotta do the new albums, get caught up on some movies and other things like that. I'm gonna be watching Star Wars Andor as of tonight or tomorrow, so definitely tune into that. I gotta get caught up on 2 new episodes for Star Wars Andor, so I'm still behind on that show, but I'll get caught up in due time. But until then, stay safe, guys. Take care. Rust in Peace album review is happening tomorrow, sometime in the afternoon tomorrow. If I get around to it, of course. So, as always, I will see you in my next review.